We've got a whole lot on our plate today, more so than we had that I thought we would have going into today.
Yeah, same.
Things happen for various reasons, and sometimes you just gotta do things. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Season Language Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Howe and Ladyem.
Hello.
This is episode 218. That's a lot of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We have our next foray into Owl experiences the Yakuza series as we played through Yakuza Kiwami, the remake of Yakuza 1. We're going to talk briefly about that Nintendo Direct because, oh boy. And we got to rank some things because, oh boy. Also, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Let's start off with that Nintendo Direct, and it was bad.
It definitely could have been better.
It was not good. I think a lot of it, though, is just like, they've done these little mini directs, and those have been fine, obviously, because of the pandemic and everything. But, this being the first, big direct since September 2019, and that September 2019 direct was just a banger of a direct. So, that's a lot of big shoes to fill coming, trying to do one after that one. But,
Yep.
This just didn't hit the mark on a lot of things.
I will say it was not as awkward as the Final Fantasy 15 press conference.
That's the low bar. That's the lowest of low bars that you can hit.
I was just making jokes because that is still the worst press conference I've ever seen.
I don't think you can get that bad. There's they came into this saying hey, we're gonna talk about new Smash character, and then games that are gonna ship in the first half of 2021, which they kind of just didn't really do a whole lot of that. They talked a lot about games which I mean, granted, if they did that specifically, this direct would have been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really have a whole lot to talk about that was coming out in the first half of 2021. They're adding those characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 into Smash, which who cares? I feel like we have had the exact opposite reaction for the Sephiroth reveal and then the Pyra and whatever name her other form is reveal, where I was like, Sephiroth's fine, it's weird, whatever, and you were like, this is terrible. And I'm the opposite with the Xenoblade reveal. I
mean, we knew that he wanted to put Rex in. We knew that. He said he did. But that...
And then Nintendo's like, no.
He didn't make
we need
production time. Well,
we need another sword character.
As Rex would have been a sword character.
I mean, yes, exactly.
But I mean, I think that it's kind of neat because it's relying on that Zelda Sheik mechanic type thing that you can switch between and change your movesets, which is pretty cool because then you're kind of getting a 2-in-1 character, but you can switch up whatever you're doing depending on what's going on around you. But we knew that he wanted Rex in, and Rex did not make it because of timing. And so I fully expected to get a Xenoblade 2 representative at some point. Fully expected it.
What if they just picked a better character?
I mean, who would you have preferred?
You could pick anyone from the prologue expansion pack they did, because that's the better game.
I agree with you. Could have put Zeke in. He actually is in the game, but he's just in the background. But
just put him in the game. Who cares?
I don't think that the people from Torna are recognizable enough.
And my reaction to that is, who cares? I think just my main problem with this, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a terrible game.
And see, I completely disagree.
I agree with that. I understand that. Also, I feel like that reveal was kind of real because it made it seem like, oh, they're doing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC, and then it just turns into a Smash reveal. If I was a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 fan, I'd be kind of by that.
I knew what was happening when it came up.
But either way.
I didn't think they were going to do DLC this far into the... it's been years at this point.
I mean, they're not making a new game. Well, I mean, they are making a new game, but
they are making a new game.
They're not going to be that's not going to be coming out anytime soon, so...
Yeah.
Uh,
So
but
it
regardless,
it had to have been Smash because they were saying they were doing Smash news. Then Pyro went missing, and I was like, yeah, it's definitely Smash.
bad reveal. Um,
Disagree.
but like outside of that, there's just not a whole lot to talk about with this thing. Like, I feel like there was like two things that I was like kind of excited about, and that was the Famicom Detective Agency remakes, which is
I
just
pre-ordered those.
incredibly weird because if you don't know what those are Famicom Disk System games
Mhm.
that have never been like translated officially outside of Japan or anything. There's like fan translations you can get and everything, but like that's just a weird, incredibly weird thing to get, especially for them to come out over here. World's End Club coming out over here, which is good to know. I
Yeah.
would assume that's going
And
to be
soon, actually.
I would assume it's going to be the full thing because I know like the Apple Arcade version is not the full game.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's it.
I would assume since they're selling it on a cart that it's going to be the full thing.
You'd hope so at least, yeah. That's kind of it. Like Mario Golf seems interesting, but it's probably one of those games I would play once and to be like, I got my fill of this. Splatoon 3 is intriguing, but like it just looks like more Splatoon at the end of the day, which I could take or leave. I hope they do kind of more single player stuff, which they did in Splatoon 2 and specifically that DLC, which I thought was like probably the more interesting things about that game. I feel like there's something else. Triangle game. I'm glad that there's a game coming out that's going to implement Phil Jackson's triangle offense into a video game, and then you have to use the triangle offense to recreate the success of the 1990s Chicago Bulls and lead them to 6 championships. Very interesting idea. It's a real cool idea that they could bring to a tactical game.
The title was really funny too.
That's the only way I would play a tactical RPG at this point. Like I saw all that, and it was like, it's the Octopath people. They're making a tactical RPG. I don't care at all.
But they announced it as if like I knew who those people were. I was like, I don't know who they are.
Well, they announced it as like the next installment in the 2D HD series. I was like, what is that supposed to mean?
I had no idea what it meant, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
That was weird.
I mean, like, I'm really hyped for Skyward Sword because I really like that game.
I don't think I'm as hyped just because I've played it recently to where, like, I don't know if I'd necessarily want to go spend $60 to play that game again.
I played it recently, too.
Well, you're a different case than me, let's say. The one interesting thing I want to see about that game is the non-motion control control settings that they have for that, which is a good thing to have because obviously the original game was played all through motion controls, which is not a cool thing to do, especially for like accessibility options and anything, because people cannot play that game like that.
Right.
So I'm real interested to see how they do the controller stuff, where they said like they're gonna have like the attacks on the right stick, which I think you could do very interesting things with that. Like if I was Nintendo, I would be looking specifically at a video game called Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which basically kind of did this sort of thing where like I think you had like some like normal attacks on the face buttons, but then like you could get very hyper specific with like your aiming with your sword, with like you would hold a button and then do aiming with the right stick to get like you would know exactly where your sword's going to hit and everything, and then you could just kind of go crazy with chopping and everything, and it felt very, very good, which obviously that was a platinum game, so of course it's going to feel very good. So if I was Nintendo, that's what I would be looking at in terms of like using a control scheme to adapt to a game that was very motion controlled. You want to basically put all your attacks on the right stick and everything. So hopefully that's kind of the direction they go in. We talked about how like I'm curious to see how they're going to do camera control, because if you're putting everything on the right stick, like how's camera control going to work then? So it could be very weird. But yeah, they didn't really talk about it other than, hey, we're putting attacks on the right stick. Cool, right? And I think like,
which, I mean, a lot of people are gonna play this for the first time now because they didn't like the idea of motion controls.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I would say the only like kind of bad thing is that like they're calling this just Skyward Sword HD. It's just it doesn't look like they've done a whole lot to the graphics. Like it still kind of just looks like a Wii game at the end of the day. Like it looks a little bit better, but not like super better.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where like I'm not surprised by that. And then also they had the terrible thing where they had Al Noma come out and be like, yeah, we're not talking about Breath of the Wild 2. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, that part was pretty rough. That he's like, I know you guys saw me and thought that I was gonna talk about Breath of the Wild too, but I'm not gonna do that. We have no news to share.
Which
We'll give it to you later this year.
yeah, I get that. Like, you have to come out and say that because people are going to assume immediately that's what you're coming to talk about.
Yep.
But to just come out and just be like, yeah, we have nothing to say at the moment. Like, oof. Also, still no Metroid Prime.
Nope. Still no Bayonetta.
Still no Bayonetta. So like, it just felt like a very weird thing. Like Nintendo's, I don't know where Nintendo is right now. Like, they just don't have a whole lot out there that's going to be happening in the first half of this year.
Oh, also, things that we didn't talk about. There's Hyrule Warriors DLC, which I'm not gonna get. Which that says something. There was a Warriors game though that showed up.
Yeah.
Yay. So, but
honestly though, if you're putting out a trailer for a Warriors, like a mainline Warriors game in your direct, like that kind of is indicative of, man, we don't have a lot to talk about.
Man, shh. Warriors games are great and deserve all the love.
The Japanese direct had a trailer for Caligula Effect 2, which I'm interested in just because of, I really like that anime. I didn't like the game. So
yeah, the
hopefully,
anime was great.
Hopefully they can fix up the game portion of that.
I hope so.
And make it a little bit better to play and all that.
Because it was basically unplayable to begin, like in the first version.
But I think outside of that, that's basically it. It was not that. It was ever. I think a lot of people were just like coming out of that. It was like, oof, yikes.
I did not realize until I saw a bunch of chuds on Twitter, how much people seem to dislike Skyward Sword.
Well, yeah, that's been the case since Skyward Sword came out.
Well, the thing is that people were like, well, what about my Twilight Princess? And I'm like, when do people start liking Twilight Princess? Because from what I understood, people hated Twilight Princess.
Yeah, play a better Zelda game than Twilight Princess.
Like, good God.
People like to complain about the opening of Skyward Sword. Go replay the opening of Twilight Princess, man.
Right? Right.
Also, you got a remake on the Wii U. Also, supposedly they're going to just re-put those Wii U ports on the Switch at some point. That's the rumor.
That's the rumor, and so people were upset that they didn't get that. And I'm like I said, and we've talked about this before. Zelda fans are terrible.
Yeah.
Because they're always complaining about something. But I say that as somebody who really loves the Zelda franchise. But people hated Twilight Princess when it came out it was not when it came out. It was soon after. They're like, "Oh, we didn't like this because it didn't."
Well, they hated it at the reveal as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Or no, they probably I think liked it because it was the adult Link stuff. So they're probably like, "Ooh." Wind Waker was the one they hated at the reveal.
Yeah, they hated Wind Waker at the reveal, but Twilight Princess, like as it went along, people were like, "Oh, we didn't like this game," and then Skyward Sword came out and people seem to like it fine, and I guess like people stopped liking that too.
I don't think the case was people liked it fine. That I think people did not like that game when it came out, and continue to have not liked that game since it came out.
Really?
Yes.
I heard like great things about it, and I loved it. So
I
don't know.
I have consistently heard negative things about Skyward Sword since it came out.
But now people have circled back around. They're like, "Well, Twilight Princess is the good game." Like, what?
Twilight Princess is a mediocre Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, it's definitely not like top tier for me. One thing that I did think that was kind of bizarre about the Skyward Sword announcement was they're like, "Oh yeah, look at these things that we got from Skyward Sword that went into Breath of the Wild." And I was like, "Hey, we talked about that."
Yes, thank you for listening to our podcast where we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nintendo Direct wasn't great.
It could have been better.
They could have done a lot of things better, I think, in that whole thing. But yeah, that's that. There's a PlayStation thing coming out Thursday. You'll have already heard all the news about it by the time this comes out. So maybe if there's anything interesting, we'll talk about that next week as well.
Yeah.
I think they're just talking about PS5 games, so who knows if that's going to be anything worthwhile for us. But yeah.
Yeah.
If there's anything, we'll talk about it. For now, let us move on to our next topic of discussion.
Our next segment.
Our next segment. Al, you watched a bad video about ranking Love Live characters, and we are going to negate that by putting out a better ranking of Love Live characters.
Correct.
Because the world needs it, and the world needs more objective rankings of Love Live characters that are factually true.
Including girls that should have been included that were not.
Exactly. We're going to rank 29 gals. So 9 members of Muse, the 9 members of Aqua, and then the 11 you could count members of Nijigasaki. We won't do not subunits, but like rival groups or anything like that, or all like the normal cards from School Idol Festival.
Nope.
That eventually ended up in Nijigasaki. So yeah, we're gonna do this, and people will probably get mad at it, but who cares? At the end of the day,
it's fine.
This is objective, and if you disagree, you're wrong.
Correct.
There you go. Let's just start with Moose.
Moose.
We probably shouldn't have put out all the numbers here because like that's just not gonna work because we're gonna this list is gonna change.
Yeah.
We done goofed.
I would say this is fixable.
Done goofed and done fixed. Honk. There you go.
Honk.
Number 1 with a bullet. For now. So this is like I don't know what the order is for this, but sometimes the orders is weird for these. Next up we have Ellie. Where would you put Ellie in terms of honk? Above or below a honk?
I would put her below a honk.
I would also put her below a honk. Like Ellie's like, fine, but
she's fine.
And Haneka's also kind of just fine, but she has a little bit more going on in I think her arc in the anime has some interesting ideas that the anime just doesn't capitalize on, unfortunately, because, man, Original Love Live is not a good anime.
It's not good.
But I would definitely take her over Ellie. Kotori.
I would definitely put her below Ellie, too. Like, her character is basically, I'm a secret maid, and also I make costumes.
Also, I'm Haneka's friend.
Also, I just don't tell you important information that I should tell you for no good reason.
Oh, God, right.
Drama.
Man. Umi's just going to go straight to the bottom of the list.
Straight to the bottom. Straight to the bottom.
Umi's whole character is, I am Haneka's friend, and also I'm a
She's so mean. She's a jerk.
She's a terrible character. Like a legitimately terrible character.
Legitimately a terrible character. I don't understand why anyone was like, oh, she's a good friend. She's a good character. No, she's neither of these things. She's a terrible person.
Like I'm going to be mean all the time just because that's how I feel like that's how friends work.
Also, I'm going to just fat shame my friends because why not?
Terrible.
Ugh.
Terrible character.
Very bad.
Absolutely terrible.
The only redeeming thing about Umi is her voice actress.
Yes.
In Japan. I don't know about her English one. I don't remember who it is.
It's Christina V, isn't it?
No, it's Katori.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're right. But yeah, Umi's voice actress is good, and she's also married to Kazuchika Okada, which is very funny. Always will be funny. I always have this idea of Okada showing up to Love Live Fest and being like, what the have I got myself into?
I hope that happens, honestly.
I also hope that happened. Rin.
I mean, she's above Umi for sure.
Yeah.
Like the only interesting thing they really do with her is the episode where like she feels like she's not girly enough. But that's literally 1 episode out of 2 seasons that they do something with her.
I think that's more interesting than what they do with Umi, Katori, and Ellie.
Yeah, I think that's
also,
fair.
she makes cat noises.
Yeah.
Positive.
Yeah.
Maki.
I personally like Maki better than 2 through 5 here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got the tsundere thing going on, which is a little annoying at times, but also she's like, oh yeah, by the way, we have like a hospital that we own that's in the family. That's kind of cool, I guess. She says that, not me. I think that the one thing that I find really interesting with her is like her relationship with Nico.
Totally.
And like that kind of makes you hinge on another character to be good, but it does make her at least somewhat interesting.
They're probably maybe the two most interesting characters in the show.
Yes, I agree with you.
So does that make her number one?
That makes her number one at the moment.
Interesting.
It won't last,
Yeah.
but
Nozomi, grody gal.
grody.
Here is the qualification for if you are at the very bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Do we say Umi being a complete asshole is the bottom of the list, or Nozomi being a sexual assaulter is the bottom of the list?
I'm gonna go with sexual assaulter goes to the bottom of the list.
There you go.
Congrats, Umi. You survived because Nozomi sexually assaults people.
And also, like, doesn't know how to be friends with anyone.
No. She's read the same book for many years.
God. All this is doing just reminding me of, man, the first Love Live anime is just a mess.
It's not good.
It's not. Hanayo.
She likes rice.
She likes idols.
She likes idols.
She likes Ren.
I'd probably put her above Ren.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same. And then Nico's just going straight to the top.
Nico's straight to the top.
Because she is the only good character to come out of original Love Live.
She's the only good character. She actually has like depth and a storyline, and she's kind of a gremlin, but like we know that she does a lot of her gremlin behaviors to like cover up some of her insecurities, and like that's actually some layers to her. It's pretty good.
She's like one of the few characters that actually gets character development in that series.
Yeah. Congrats, Nico. You're the best so far.
Yay. Let's move on to
Aqua.
Chica.
Number 1.
Easy.
Rico. I would put her around like Ellie.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't really like Rico all that much. She doesn't do a whole lot in terms of her character.
I think I would put her at like 5.
I could accept that.
Because I think she's a little bit better than Ren and Hanyo. Kanon.
She's going to go down there with Umi.
Kanon is, I think, just I talked about this. I wrote this in my book. There's a lot of, I think, missed opportunities with Kanon because there's a lot just like left on the table with her character where like once you get past like the first 3 quarters of season 1, she just kind of falls off the face of the earth until the Miracle Wave episode.
Yep.
So like there's just so much more you could have done with that character.
Especially given the situation with her having to deal with the like dive shop and everything. When like her dad is apparently sick and she's having to help out with the dive shop. Like there's so much you could have done there. And they just didn't do anything with her. And like even outside of the anime, like in the games, like she's just not a very interesting character.
Yeah. I think that's true.
But she is better than Umi because she's not a complete asshole.
Yes. Is she better than Kotori? I would say yeah.
I would say yes.
Is she better than Ellie?
No. I don't think so.
Try to make more noises, but I couldn't.
I would say that they're at least equivalent.
So we should put her above.
No.
If they're equivalent.
Then why would she go above?
Because she's better.
Why? What makes her better?
I think the idea that they kind of portray of Kanon initially, where like she is the adamant kind of villain of the series for the first like 7-8 episodes, and then when they bring her actually kind of back into the fold for like the Miracle Wave episode where she's like, hey, like all of this stuff could go very badly. We've seen how could go very badly. I don't want this to go very badly for us now that we're like, close to the shot at making it to Love Live and everything. And like she has to go face to face with like Chica's determination to be like, no, I can do anything that I set my mind to and everything. Like I think those are very interesting ideas that the show portrays. Like even though like we said, like there's a lot of just like missed opportunities with her character. I think there are better moments with Kanan than there are better moments with Ellie.
I mean, honestly, the Miracle Wave stuff is all contingent on Chica being such a great character, though.
Right, but she also just needs that foil to be like, hey, you need to, if you can't do this, we will pull out because I don't want to see people get hurt. And for us to completely ruin our shots.
I mean, I'm not gonna fight you over Kanan because she's not worth it, but I personally think she's below Ellie, but I'm fine with her going above Ellie
I
because, like I said,
win.
they're equivalent. You don't win
I
anything.
win. Another argument won for the good guys.
Are you calling me the bad guys? Get out of here.
Is a joke. Daya.
I would personally put Daya at number 3 at the moment. She would go above Maki.
I honestly would have said the same thing. Like, Daya is
Okay.
such an underrated character.
Very underrated.
That it really took me a few like watch throughs to be like, man, her character is so good. It's so kind of,
She's
there's so many
super
layers
good.
to her character that just kind of go unnoticed when you're watching through the first time or something like that, where you
Right.
just kind of don't notice like the intricacies of what she's dealing with or what, she's trying to manage and juggle with, Chica and her group, and then the third years and everything. It's just, there's so much stuff happening, and then
Not to
obviously,
mention Ruby, too.
yeah, obviously, like there's all this stuff with Ruby, and that will happen later in this series as well. Like there's just a lot to her character that I think really, really works within the confines of that series.
She's a very good.
I like how it cut off. You said she's a very good, and I agree. She is a very good.
She's a very good character.
Yes. Yo.
Yosaro. Um. Where would I put Yo? I might put Yo right below Daya.
I might put her under Maki because I think she has also a problem where like she kind of comes and goes in the series, where there's a lot of times where she kind of just like will show up and be prominent and then just kind of gets pushed to the side for Chica and Rico.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I think Yo's a really fun character. But
yeah, I agree.
I think that part of the series kind of hurts her more than helps.
Mm-hmm. So you think she is a worse character than Maki?
That's a good question. Like, I would say I like Yo more than Maki, but is she a better character? That's the question.
Yeah. I think they're at least able to get into her head a little bit more than they do with Maki.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Okay.
Like she deals with a lot of insecurity, and she's more than just the best friend at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yoshiko.
Yohane. Dose.
Yeah. Hanamaru.
I really like Zura.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they did more with her.
Mm-hmm.
So she is also around the range of like Maki-ish for me. Because she's a very good character, and you see a lot of her shine in like All Stars and School Idol Festival. And she is big ride or die for her friend's character. I just wish they did more with her in season 2.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
agree with all of those parts. Like, I think really she gets her time to shine in the Hakodate arc
hmm
because that's basically just kind of focused in on the first years. But even then, she's kind of maybe the third or fourth wheel
yeah.
in that part of it. It's part of me that wants to just put her at number 5 just because of the scene at in the final episode alone, where
I'd be fine with
where
that.
they have to say goodbye to the library, because
Yeah.
that scene breaks me every time.
Yep. Yep.
Mari,
I'm glad that her levels of sexual assault were not as high.
right? They kind of like get that out of their
Um,
systems early, and then they're like, "This is not good. We shouldn't do this."
yeah. Um, and Mari, honestly, like I didn't expect to really like her all that much because she's just like the eccentric rich girl kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um, but she really does get her time to shine with the shine with the third year arc. But also with her the arc in the second season where they're dealing with, well, actually several arcs. One, the Miracle Wave one, where you get to see a little bit more of what makes her tick, or made her tick, and two, when she gets to like fly up in the sky in her car, and they're having to deal with like what's our future
mm-hmm.
like. Um, Mari's kind of a goofy character, uh, and I think that a lot of what helps her is Aina in general.
Yeah,
Like Aina's delivery on Mari is just insanely good. Um, that being said, I like Aina better than I like Mari.
yeah.
So that makes it a little bit harder for me to like separate them, but I do know that like I don't like Mari as much as I like some of the other girls in, well, any many of the arcs, just because of she's just not as good in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe like Honk level.
Okay,
What about you? What do you think?
I think that's probably about where I would put her.
Cool.
But where?
Um, okay. I'm trying to decide. Would she go below Rico?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
Would she go below Honk?
I think she slots in above Honk.
Okay.
And then finally Ruby.
Marimaki.
Marimaki. Ruby.
Ruby! Um, Ruby is, as you know, my fave.
Correct.
Um, and really where she gets to shine is the Nagadate arc and the movie.
Yes, both correct.
Because we get to see a lot of development with Ruby and who she is as a person, how she's growing, how she's dealing with Daya leaving. Um, she goes through a lot of growth and becomes like the de facto like future leader of Aqua,
Mm-hmm.
which is great, and I love seeing her develop. Um, in terms of this list, I would probably put her maybe below Daya, above Hanamaru.
That's kind of where I am thinking as well, but I'm trying to think whether I would put her above or below Daya.
I mean, I personally,
Yes, personally, I know what you would do, but
yeah, I would personally probably put her above Daya. But I think the thing about the Kurosawas is that they both get a lot of development, and a lot of it is really good development.
right.
So you can't really go wrong there. They're just very different styles of development.
And like you said, like Ruby obviously, she goes from starting off with being just incredibly timid and not wanting to be found by anyone that she doesn't know or anything like that, to where like you said, by the time we get to the near the end of the movie, she's like the leader of the first years and essentially being kind of prepped up to be, hey, if the second years leave and you guys still want to do Aqua, like you're probably going to be the new leader.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's so much development.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the thing that's really cool about Ruby is that, she does still have a lot of her like quirks and awkwardness to her, even though she has a bit more confidence in herself by the end of it. Like she's still shy and she's still kind of like deer in headlights at times, but she knows more of who she is and what she wants and knows how to help her friends better than she did at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's super cool.
It's a lot of that kind of comes part and parcel with like the development of Daya as well. So like this is a very hard decision.
Yeah.
Because like their whole arcs very well just like mesh together. Their whole developments mesh together because a lot of like how they they grow as people is reliant on the other person.
Yeah, their relationship together.
Yes.
And I mean, you have the really, really cool stuff with like my where they're having to kind of work together to bring people together who don't know each other.
Right.
So like that's a really neat thing that they're two very different girls in terms of like how they present themselves, how they function really personality wise. But they're able to come together, work together because they care about each other so much, and they also care about Aqua so much. They're like, all right, you know what? We will figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. They're good gals. Man, I just keep thinking of that scene where they talk outside by the like restaurant.
Yeah, that scene is just incredibly good.
It's so well done. I mean, like I said, I know where I would put her, but where would you put her? I'm not going to be offended if you put her below Daya, but I think she goes above Daya.
I think our discussion there kind of gave her the slight push to go above. But like it's very close. Like those two just like, like you said, there's a lot of similarities in both of the developments to where like, it's hard to separate them, but also like they both have really good arcs throughout the series. So
also on a rewatch, I realized that Daya as a small Daya piggies, which is great.
it's true.
Real good.
Now we're going to move to Nijigasaki.
Nijigasaki.
We're gonna start off with Ayumu.
There are parts of her that I think that she got done dirty in the anime.
Yeah, I would agree.
She's a much better character in All Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like much, much better. Where would I put her?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because like you said, like I think some of the anime stuff, just in general, for a lot of the characters, is going to kind of come into odds with how our portrayal of them has become through learning about them through All Stars and subsequent stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think because the rest of them have 2 seasons and a movie.
Whereas the DG girls only have a singular anime at the moment and a lot of all-star stories. So like there's a lot of differences between how there's a difference between obviously like these first 2 groups have a complete arc, a complete story arc. They have a beginning and an ending. The DG girls do not have that yet.
Nope.
So I think with these rankings, like these could eventually fluctuate.
Yes.
Because of, we don't know exactly where their story is going to go from beginning to end at the moment. We're still kind of in that middle portion of it, potentially. I think right now I might put Ayumu above Mari.
Okay, that's about what I was thinking. I was thinking around Honk area,
Yeah.
so.
Kasumi.
Oh, Kasumi's good. Um, I'm having a hard time deciding on this one.
Kazumi for me might go in at number 3.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that too.
Kazumi has such a good arc, and she's probably one of the characters who is least done dirty in the anime.
Yes.
To where like her arc is very similar to what it is in All Stars and everything. But like she is, she's the gremlin character, quote unquote. But also
Yeah.
she's just incredibly ride or die for the club and everything, and that's very much shown throughout All Stars with all the trials and tribulations they've gone through in that story.
Mm-hmm.
To where in the season 2 portion of the story where she's just like, I am going to defend the club. I will be a part of the club no matter what. You will not get me to leave or anything. And if anyone leaves, them, they're traitors.
Yeah. I also really in the anime the episode where Shizuku's having so many problems and Kasumi's like, you know what? Let's figure this out. You're my friend.
Her ride or die is like extends past just the club itself for the people she cares about. So like she is just like the ultimate like, hey, if you are friends with me, we are good to go. I will take a bullet for you if I have to.
She will defend your honor.
Yes. She's
so good.
An incredibly good character, especially for someone who like on at first glance you kind of just think like, oh, she's a joke character. She's just like the goofy comedic relief, but like there's just so much more to her than that I think is really accentuated in All Stars, but also the anime does a really good job of kind of like showing those qualities of her as well.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a really good character.
Shizuku.
I had a hard time connecting with her until the anime. Because she doesn't get a whole lot of like time to shine really, other than like her acting until like we get to her episode in the anime, and then I was like, oh, now I get you.
Yeah.
And that made me like her a lot more. Where do you live, Shizuku?
Probably in a house.
And similar to how we were talking about like Maki and Nico have a really good dynamic, like Kasumi and Shizuku have a really good dynamic.
Yes.
And that it's very good. I would probably put her above Maki.
I was kind of thinking the same. Because yeah, like you said, like the anime, the episode they do specifically for her, and then her song and everything, like does a really good job, kind of like diving into her just like mental state of having to be like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Like, I do like all this acting and stuff, but sometimes like I don't know who exactly I am as a person anymore. Like I've lost that sort of portion of myself, and then like Kasumi kind of comes in and is like, gets her out of this funk and everything, gets her out of all these like self-doubts and like imposter syndrome and everything, and it does a really good job of that and all that. Like you said, I think she does get like a little bit of a downwardsness in the All-Star story. I think she kind of got a better portion of it in season 2.
Yeah, her the most recent chapter in season 2 was really good for her.
Yeah, but like outside of that, like she kind of was just like there. She's like, oh, she's the actor who does idol stuff now. But like some of the stuff like later on, she's gotten a lot better characterization and development and everything. So
yeah,
there's that. Karen.
She's sexy.
That's her character.
No, that's not her entire character. She also gets lost a lot. I think that the interesting thing that they do with Karen as a character is, I'm trying to think of a way to word this, that she's the one that really embraces the whole idea of like, we're in the same club but we're rivals. She embraces that more than anybody else in Niji. And I think that's interesting to think about, because up until this point we'd had like a coherent group. It was, except for, a little bit with Katori and all that BS that happened. that could have actually been interesting, but they didn't make it interesting.
Yeah.
But you have a group, and they're friends, and they work together. Um, and Karen, like, she obviously cares about everybody in the group, and like she considers them friends. But she really is attached to the rivalry, the friendly rivalry of it. And I think she's more attached to it than anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
which I think makes her interesting. More so than just like, hey, I'm the sexy one.
I think she also, like, going into that, like, she's very much kind of like maybe the most out of everyone that like embraces the showmanship of being an idol. Like, she kind of gets that aspect of it, I think, better than maybe anyone else on this list.
Right.
That being said, I think a lot of her character is still kind of up in the air. Not just like up in the air, but like there's a lot left to be, I think, written about her.
Yes,
like, her
I
arc
agree
is
with you.
still kind of in flux and to be determined, essentially.
Yes.
Like, I think out of maybe anyone on this list, like, she's probably going to be the one that will probably fluctuate the most.
Yeah.
At the moment. With that being said, where would you put her on this list?
At the moment, I would probably put her. If I'm being completely honest, I'd put her below Rico at the moment.
Hey, that's where also I was thinking.
Cool.
I.
What a good gal. What a good one. I is so good.
I is very energetic. She is, she's the gal character, but like she kind of like doesn't really accentuate like that stereotype. Like, she has just like the look of it, but like she's not just like the traditional like, oh, I'm an airhead type character. Like, no, she's just like, she's very energetic. She loves things that her friends are into.
She's super smart.
She's super smart. She's very ride or die for her friends and everything. I
also love the dynamic with her and Rena.
Yes.
That, like, at one point Rena is sad in the anime. She's like, oh, hey, you're by yourself. Let's be friends.
Yep.
I was like, oh, look at you. You're very kind.
I might put I in at number 7.
I was exactly thinking the same thing.
Cool. Great minds think alike. Kanata, the sleepy gal.
The sleepy gal.
I think Kanata's another one that her arc's kind of just to be determined at the moment. Like, all of her story is like, she sleeps a lot.
And she loves her sister.
And she loves her sister, which the anime kind of goes a little bit more into than maybe All Stars does. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot else to her.
Not yet,
which is unfortunate. I feel like eventually we're going to get that, but like, as of right now, it's just like, it's an interesting character.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, here's a girl who just sleeps all the time and gets up and is like, hey, what's up? I'm ready.
Yeah, I had initially come into Niji thinking like, oh, this is easily going to be my favorite. I really like her. And I do still like her, but she's not my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a lot that can be done with her that they haven't done yet.
Yeah.
So she kind of is in the same situation as Karen, in that, like, there's good there, but they haven't fully developed that good yet.
Yeah. I would agree with that. So does she go in above or below Karen?
I would put her above. Okay.
Setsuna.
Also a very good character.
Setsuna is fun because obviously she lives the double life as the student council president for a time being.
She's Hannah Montana.
In All Stars and the anime, she keeps that role for the entirety of it. And just seeing how she kind of like walks those two personas.
Yeah.
Because they're very different from each other. Like, obviously the Setsuna idol is, very confident and everything, but like her student council persona is very reserved and everything, and she has to like keep a prim and proper look and everything. She has to keep this image up for her parents and everything, and can't let anyone know that she's like also this idol who secretly does all these shows and everything, is very popular. Like, I think that's all very interesting.
Not to mention, like, the fact that she's totally an otaku and has to
Hmm.
keep that under wraps.
Yeah.
Like that's a really cool thing about her.
I think the stuff she goes through in All Stars is more interesting than what she goes through in the anime.
I agree with you.
Although I do like how the anime presents this interesting relationship between her and you,
Hmm.
where like you kind of like gets her out of like the funk of not being an idol, and then like they're able to bond over that and everything, and kind of come together through that relationship of just like being idol fans essentially. Um, and then what she goes through in All Stars with like eventually losing the student council presidency, and having to kind of like readjust like how she lives her life and everything, how she kind of comes to terms with
She has to
everything.
reevaluate
Reevaluate,
herself.
yeah, that's what I was looking for. Like I think all that's really good as well, and then how she kind of like navigates all that to where she is today. I think it's all really really good.
And plus also just being like a support for the rest of the Niji girls because
Hmm.
she has more experience than anybody
Yeah.
so far. So she's kind of like the coach, and she's got the interesting like little rivalry with Kasumi.
Hmm.
That I don't think she realizes that she's in the rivalry with Kasumi. But I think that that's really fun.
Yeah.
So there's a lot good about her.
Yeah. Where would you put Stetson on the list? I might put her above I.
Yeah,
Cool. Emma.
she's from Switzerland.
She is from Switzerland.
Um, I think that the neat thing about Emma is once again how supportive she is.
Mhm.
She really wants her friends to be happy. Really, really wants her friends to be happy.
Yeah.
I think that she also is kind of in the same boat as Karen Akanata, which is weird. It's like, oh, hey, our third years need a little bit more development going on here.
Yeah.
But I think that uh, it sets them up for a good place, and I think that they could do some neat development with them. And the whole idea that she saw idols and like moved to Japan and learn Japanese, everything just so she could become an idol is like it's adorable. I think that one of the most interesting things that I've seen with Emma so far is actually in All Stars. I think it's her like bond level stories where she is really interested in like becoming more acquainted with Japanese culture, and she wants to wear the kimono, and she
Mhm.
ends up working in the shop and um, working with the one girl and kind of becoming like she inherits some like an idol song
Yeah.
and becomes part of like this cycle of people really becoming attached to the song and continuing it forward.
Mhm.
And I think that's a really neat idea that like that was the song that really inspired her and that she gets to keep that tradition alive of that song since she would be the third person who's used it.
Yeah.
Um like that was a really cool sub story. I liked it a lot. Um like I said, I think that there is more that can be done with Emma that has not been done yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Where would you put her?
Honestly, might maybe in the same range as the other 30 years. Because like I said, like there's not
That's what I was thinking. I was just trying to figure out where she would go.
there's a lot still left on the table for her, just like the other third years, which is
Mhm.
unfortunate. But I'm assuming at some point we'll get that.
Yeah, I
I'd hope so
figure.
at least. I think she might have a little bit more going on than Karen and Kanata though.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So there you go. Rena.
Rena, I like Rena. I wasn't sure what to expect with Rena when we first got her
Mhm.
as like a character announcement. I was like, okay, she's got the board. That's okay. Um, I think that one of the best things that they do with Rena, she has the issue with she can't express herself. She's not able to really have her facial expressions match what's going on in her head. Um, but I think the cool thing about Rena, and this could be a lot of just me like reflecting on her, is that we do have a character here that feels like she has like anxiety disorders, that's dealing with it, that is becoming an idol and trying to like grow through that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, really cool, that we have this person who might be potentially like neurodivergent in this. And I don't even think that it's potentially, she is. And her relationship with I is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And I think one of the neat things about her is that we see her making friends outside of the group. And her friends end up like really caring about what she's doing and wanting to hang out with her and wanting to go to her shows. And so we see that development of her as a character, that she's able to actually make friends and have them see who she really
Mm-hmm.
is. That's a really neat thing.
A lot of that comes with like in the anime specifically, like the development of the Rin-chan board and everything, where she's actually able to finally kind of express emotions and show people like, oh, this is what I'm feeling, and not just like, I can't show you because my face doesn't do that, which is
Yeah.
interesting. I think the interesting thing about like the divergence of the anime and All Stars is that the anime goes very much into, she doesn't have that stuff yet until her episode comes about, whereas in All Stars she already has that stuff going into it,
Yeah.
and you have to learn about it as you go forward.
Yeah. Getting the Rina-chan board backstory is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole like scene in her apartment in the anime with the box
Yeah,
is just
it's
phenomenal.
really really good.
It's a really, really well done scene.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it made me like her so much. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Where does she go on the list?
Hmm. Rena, where do you live?
I want to throw out a number at you.
Okay.
Number 10.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. And finally, we get to our two bonus characters. Bonus round. Shioriko.
This is a good character.
Shioriko is a fantastic character.
She's a really good character.
She obviously gets, I think, the most development in All Stars because she kind of comes in as the villainous character, and then kind of we see just like, why is she like this? What in her backstory has caused her to kind of like have this reaction to people? How is she able to kind of overcome things, specifically with with the help of the player character and everything, and then eventually like her friendship with Ayumu also helps us. And then seeing as we see stuff in season 2 where like things even get even weirder, where she has to like confront people from her past, and how does she kind of come to grips with that now, or with where she is as a character today.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of her development and her character arc so far has just been maybe some of the best stuff in All Stars.
Yeah, I agree with you.
To where like I think it's quite possible she's my, like I think I've said this on the Niji podcast, where like she's probably my favorite Niji character out of all
She's
the
not
girls.
my favorite, but I do really like her.
With that being said, I think Shioriko is a top 5 character.
Rip Ruby.
Thoughts, opinions.
She's a very good character.
Yes.
And I was definitely thinking top 6. What I was gonna do is split Ruby and Daya and put her between them. But I mean, she is a super, super good character.
I might put her above Nico. But that's me. That's personal.
Whoa.
That's my personal opinion. But again, that's me.
Yeah. This is hard.
Would you accept a number 5? Just throwing it out there. Like, huh.
Okay, so you were originally thinking of 4, and I was originally thinking 6.
Yeah, just split the middle. That's the law of
Rip,
averages.
rip Ruby.
Ruby's still a top 10 character.
I know. Just makes me sad.
So are you okay with that,
Because she grows so much. She does so many things that are really, really
or do
good.
you want to push back against it?
I just Ruby's development is so good.
It is. I will completely agree with you.
And she comes so far from the beginning.
Again, I will completely agree with you.
I'm just having a hard time accepting that.
If you have a problem with it, you're more than welcome to say.
Yeah, I, I I mean, I really think she's a fantastic character. Like I said, I think that she's definitely like she's number 6 for me easily.
Okay.
I don't know that she's able to top the development that Ruby goes through.
Okay.
And it might be a situation of, she ends up higher for me after we get more of her story.
Totally.
But at the moment, I'm just like, ugh.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But she's so good. So I accept that being there is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then finally we have the anime protagonist, Dude Bro You.
I was gonna say dude bro.
You is such an interesting take on the All Stars player character because I think they kind of have some similarities, but the anime kind of goes in this completely different direction in some cases, where like she obviously is just like this big idol fan and everything, and has to kind of balance all of the girls' wants and needs and everything, but while also just kind of just being. She's just a regular old member of the club in the anime, whereas in the game she's the president, and is more kind of involved with like the song creation aspect rather than in the anime she kind of just is around at times. So it's a weird dichotomy between the two characters.
She's more glue guy in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she has that role in the game too, but it more heavily in the anime.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that by no fault of her own, the whole like IMU sub story with her kind of drags her down a bit.
Yeah, I think that's just a problem of that anime in general.
Yeah. Because that was like, oh, I don't like that.
I do think her anime character is helped just because Hinaki is literally that character.
Yeah.
She is literally become the embodiment of that character.
Yes.
In such a way that I don't think anyone actually expected.
No. It's fantastic. Very, very good. Mm-hmm. And like the dude bro aspect of her is hilarious.
It's really good.
Like she straight up dude bros so much. Where does she live for you?
I might put her around 10.
I accept that.
Okay. Bye, Hanamaru. All right, that's our list of Love Live gals. We made it.
The better list.
The better list. So from worst to first, we have Grody Nozomi, Umi, Kotori, Ellie, Kanan, Rin, Hanayo, Karen, Kanata, Emma, Riko, Hanukkah, Mari, Ayumu, Maki, Shizuku, Yo, Rina, Hanamaru, Yu, Ai, Setsuna, Daya, Shioriko, and then our top 5 of Ruby, Nico, Kasumi, Yoshiko, Chika.
Yohane. Chika. Chika is easily the best of these characters.
It's true.
Easily. And any list that says otherwise is wrong.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's our ranking of Love Live gals.
Yay!
Objective and true.
Yes. And has 2 characters that deserve to be on the list anyway.
It's true. Now let's transition over to our reoccurring segment now. Al experiencing the Yakuza series because that went longer than I anticipated.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. Just that I thought that might have gone quicker, but it did not. So we've talked about Yakuza 0 last week. We also kind of very quickly went through Yakuza 1. Because the thing with Yakuza 1 is there's not a whole lot to it.
Yeah.
Just in general. Quickly. Yeah. We played Kiwami, which is the remake of Yakuza 1. It's basically a shot-for-shot remake of the first game in general. Just with some added things here and there, but
prettified.
For the most part, it is just that base game, which is kind of basic in terms of gameplay. Not necessarily gameplay, because they just basically take over the Yakuza 0 engine and use that for the combat. But in terms of like story, it's pretty basic compared to what Yakuza 0 was. And the side quests are very basic.
Yeah.
To what I think the fact where like we kind of just like skimmed through a lot of the side stuff where we just didn't do a whole lot of it because a lot of it's just kind of very like paint by numbers side content for a game that came out in 2005.
Yeah, they're not nearly as interesting as some of the ones that we've run into.
Yeah,
especially in 0.
Which I think that's just going to be the case regardless.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the development of the original game and then of Kiwami.
Okay.
Itself. This game was first hinted at in August of 2005 as Project J. Later that month, details were announced. Producer Toshihiro Nagoshi explained, "For a while, I've wanted to create a powerful, gritty drama where you feel the sense of humanity," Nagoshi explained. "After a lot of thought, this is the product that we've arrived at." The budget of the game was 2.4 billion yen, approximately $21 million. Nagoshi chose to focus on Yakuzas due to the amount of violence the subject tends to incorporate. This was also done in order to attract more gamers with this theme, believing there were less gamers during the time the game was made. Most of the team's members are from different backgrounds, such as developers that have roots in the arcade titles such as Virtua Fighter 3 and Super Monkey Ball, as well as team members having experience in novel console titles like Panzer Dragoon and Jet Set Radio. Team members all felt that they went against their careers considering that the new game didn't match anything they had previously done. Nagoshi felt that this was an advantage, making them all play on an even playing field. Anything that was done had to go through Nagoshi first, since he had only a concrete idea of how the game was going to end up. During development, the team researched hostess clubs, which are prominently featured in the story, even attending hostess clubs themselves, including Roppongi and Kabukicho. The fictional setting of Kamurocho in the game was closely based on the red light district of Kabukicho in Tokyo. The development team wanted to accurately portray Yakuza, especially since such as their obsession with Jingi, their code of honor. Originally, the game had scenes where pinky fingers were cut off, a traditional punishment, but these scenes were removed so that the Japanese rating system would give them a favorable rating. Though using the gameplay schematics of one of Nagoshi's earlier titles, Spike Out, as basis for their combat, Yakuza utilized an entirely new engine crafted for the game. This is a little bit about the writing. The game's development was divided into two groups, one writing the main plot and the other writing the subplots. Novelist Hase Seishu was the lead writer of the central plot. Seishu was brought on board 2 years before the game development started. Seishu had been a gamer since the days of Space Invaders, but over the past 4 or 5 years he had lost interest as he was less concerned with 3D visuals and gameplay than he was with story. Yakuza caught his attention, and he decided to accept the project even though it came at the busiest point of his professional writing career. Nagoshi wanted players to get enjoyment from merely walking through Kamurocho. He also revealed that the game's title, which translates to "like a dragon," was his creation. Nagoshi felt that dragons have a strong image, which would invoke Kazuma's strength and manliness. Although Sega did have a plot in mind when they approached Seishu, they hoped that he could add realism and emotional weight to the scenes. Under Seishu's direction, the ages of Makoto Date and Kazuma Kiryu were modified. Writing the subplots did not prove challenging, as there was not a strict pattern to follow. The team wanted all subplots to keep the feeling from the main storyline. Several ideas did not make it into the game because the staff members found them silly, which is a real interesting thing considering where the series goes. One subplot that made the final cut, which involves a man who tried to commit suicide when he was rejected by a girl, was nearly removed from this game for this reason. Of course, most notably about the original Yakuza game is the English localization. In localizing the game, Sega funded an aggressive web and print advertising campaign, as well as an English voice cast composed almost entirely of cult performers like Michael Madsen, Eliza Dushku, and Mark Hamill. Localization producer Kevin Frayne recalls, when we released the original Yakuza, we knew that the game had been a hit in Japan, and we wanted to make sure that we put our best foot forward releasing a new and unique product to the Western market that would draw as much acclaim. However, technical limitations of the format made it impossible for the team to include both audio tracks on the disc. Scott Steinberg of Sega of America commented, in bringing the game to the US market, we wanted to ensure that the subtle nuances of the game were brought to life. English voice actor Daryl Curio said that he wanted to sound as good as possible after being impressed by the characterization of Kiryu and the lines he had to give. However, he regrets some lines were lost in translation of the original game. Nevertheless, Curio enjoyed the experience to the point of playing the game multiple times alongside his son. There you go. Play Yakuza with your kid. In order to fit the lip syncing from the original Japanese game, Kiryu often had to say a line in different styles. Kiryu still found more fun when doing the yells for the fight scenes. So yeah, it was a very weird thing.
Yeah.
The English dub is very weird. Also, like, it's very 2005 English dub where it's just like, let's just add in as many curse words as we possibly can.
Oh man, there's so much cussing and like very out of place cussing.
Mm-hmm.
Very bizarre.
It's very bizarre.
I also just think it's hysterical that Mark Hamill doesn't remember voicing it.
It's very funny.
It's very funny.
It's like, nope, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, okay. Let's talk a little bit about the development of Kiwami.
Okay.
Series writer Masayoshi Yokoyama stated that Sega had plans to develop Kiwami in 2015, with the company wishing gamers enjoy the first Yakuza game on more modern quality. However, they were busy during that time making the game Yakuza 0. Positive feedback to the prequel led to the making of Kiwami. The franchise's 10th anniversary and the engine used for Yakuza 0 also provided help, according to Yokoyama. Gameplay was made to be as friendly as possible to newcomers, with them being there being options to save the game's progress whenever they wanted. There were ideas in regards to changing the cast and recordings of the original games, but the staff felt it would not be an appealing remake if there were so many changes. Rather than making it look like a retro game retaining the elements of the original PlayStation 2 games, the gameplay was made similar to 8th generation titles, most notably Yakuza 0. Therefore, the team had to face the challenge of understanding the quality of the graphics and audio they could produce with a next-generation console in contrast to the original console, which left the team wondering if there were issues with different parts of the game, like the way the original Yakuza camera worked. The new voice actors included Tomokazu Sugita, who plays Shinji. However, his characterization was left to keep faithful to his bond with Kiryu despite their different ranks. The story was further expanded to increase the length while adding new minigames. The fighting system was borrowed from Yakuza 0, with a focus on grinding. Similar to that game, Yakuza Kiwami has strong depictions of violence, most notably in the heat action sequences the players can perform. Yokoyama stated that they wanted to make them as intense as possible. The plot was further explored to focus on the deaths of characters who did not have too many appearances on the original game. Due to Goro Majima's popularity, he was made to clash with Kiryu often during side quests. Majima's characterization was influenced by previous games to keep him motivated with the idea of strength following the events of Yakuza 0, which further focused on him. Kiwami improves the resolution, frame rate, textures, and loading times compared to the original game, and additional content was added to resolve some of the more confusing plot points as well as tie the story more closely to the events of the prequel Yakuza 0. So there you go.
Majima everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's the big kind of addition to Yakuza Kiwami from the original game is the Majima Everywhere system, where essentially you can kind of run around and then Majima will show up and you'll want to fight you, and sometimes it's like in various weird, wacky ways, and you kind of
pop out of a traffic cone or behind a corner like, ha!
Yep. And you kind of level that up, and he'll kind of get more and more ridiculous outfits to wear and ways to fight him and all that sort of stuff. And you also kind of get a little bit of more story with him compared to what you would have had in the original game. That kind of dives into some of like the stuff that would have happened between Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 1.
But it also makes it confusing at times.
It does make it very confusing because like there are various plot points that kind of involve Majima where you would think he's not in the picture anymore, but then he kind of just like shows back up and is like, hey, I'm ready to fight you. And then also just like the characterization between original Yakuza 1 Majima and some of the stuff they put into the Majima Everywhere system is just kind of clashes with each other just because of how the original writing was compared to how people kind of see that character from 0 now.
Yeah.
So it's a little kind of weird to say the least.
I do think us having played Zero added quite a bit to this experience, though, because I don't think that it would have hit as hard in certain moments if we had not played that.
Yes.
Um, because otherwise, like, you know that Nishiki is like your brother, not literal brother, but your brother, and you just gotta have to deal with him and get some story on what he's doing and who he is and da 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 da. But with the background that we get in Zero, you understand more of like their dynamic and more about who he is as a person and like what he's dealt with, and it makes a lot of these scenes hit way harder than I think they would have without that.
I completely 100% agree. Like, Yakuza 1, I think story is like, it's very simple. Like, you could get it even without Zero. You would kind of understand it. It's not a whole lot to
It's fine.
really think about, but like having the predecessor of Zero and having all of that knowledge of what Zero does and the story it tells really kind of adds more dynamicness to the story of Yakuza 1, and I think it makes you more invested in the story of Yakuza 1.
I agree with you.
So it's just another layer to be like, okay, well, now I kind of understand why these characters are like this now, what's happened to these characters and what's led them to kind of be this way now. Whereas if you just play Yakuza 1 by itself, you kind of just be like, yeah, I get it, but I'm maybe not as like interested as if you had played Yakuza 0.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, there's, in my opinion, quite a bit of difference since we've actually played Zero. As you said, though, it is quite a bit more simple than Zero was in terms of like how the plot is told.
It's one of those things where you can really see the difference in like 10 years of writing a series and knowing these characters.
Yeah. And I mean, that's valid. And I still had a really good time with us playing it.
Yeah.
It was a very enjoyable experience. And I did think the Majima Everywhere system was pretty funny. I'm sad that it takes so much to get through it.
Yeah, like it makes sense. Like you would want something to kind of like do, because if you don't really have that, like you can just breeze through this game.
Yeah. But getting to see him in all the different costumes and pulling his shenanigans was fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, we have taken in a girl. We got a little girl here.
We do. Let's talk about the plot of this game.
Okay.
So the game first starts off in 1995. You kind of see Kiryu as a member of the Dojima family, as was hinted at the end of Yakuza 0.
Collecting monies.
You like meet up with Nishikiyama, see your bro and everything. You're getting a gift for this other girl you grew up at the orphanage with.
That you clearly have a crush on. Very clearly.
Kiryu does not know how to deal with this. Whole thing about having to get a ring and everything, and then a whole song and dance about losing the ring and everything. Things turn bad when Nishiki kind of calls Kiryu and tells them that, like, hey, I saw Patriarch Dojima take Yumi, the girl, to his office. I'm going to go figure out what's going on. You eventually get to the office and you see that Nishiki has murdered Dojima because he was trying to force himself onto Yumi. And Kiryu decides, you shouldn't take the blame for this. I'll take the blame for this.
Yep.
And Kiryu goes to jail for 10 years.
Yep. People try and kill him in jail, and he beats the crap out of him, and he wears his dumb sweatpants.
Gets his hair shaved.
Has the bland beige food.
He eventually gets expelled from the Tojo clan, but not banished.
He's not banished.
Which is interesting. And then he finds out that Yumi has gone missing at some point. But then eventually he comes back in 2005.
Yes.
And then once he comes back, like everything's kind of going into turmoil with the Tojo clan. Sarah, the third chairman now, basically has to tell everyone, hey, we lost 10 billion yen. But he has to tell everyone that because Nishiki basically brings it up at an officers meeting. He's like, hey, where's the 10 billion yen? He's like, I was gonna tell you guys that, but I didn't want to do it right now. Whoops.
Thanks.
Uh-oh. Eventually Kiryu finds Kazuma and tries to find out about Yumi's missingness and then what's going on with Nishiki. But then Kazuma gets shot. This is all while you have to like sneak into the Tojo clan headquarters for a funeral.
It's for Sarah's funeral.
Yeah, Sarah. Oh yeah, Sarah gets murdered as well.
He is moited.
Moited.
You have to sneak in for his funeral, and like you're just hanging out with Kazuma on the couch, and somebody snipes him.
And then Shimano walks in and is like, oh, Kiryu, you must have done that. Well, we gotta beat you up now. Kiryu's like, oh god, I gotta go.
Goodbye.
Kiryu eventually has to fight his way out of the Tojo headquarters. He has to fight Shimano in like the front gate of the Tojo clan headquarters, and then Nishiki just kind of looks on and is like, he's able to escape because this guy just rolls up and is like, hey, get in my car. Dive into my car, and we can get out of here. That person is Makoto Date. He's a detective now. He was one of the people who was investigating the Dojima murder. He was like one of the people who questioned Kiryu initially. Didn't really like kind of believe like he was the murderer and everything. But he's now trying to investigate the murder of Sarah. So he's like, I need you to help me figure out who's doing this. What's happening? Like, who did this?
Also, here's a cell phone.
Here's a cell phone. You need this. It's 10 years have passed. Cell phones are a thing now. Basically, there's this whole thing going on between like a big power struggle between the Tojo clan about who's going to become the next chairman and everything. Kazuma's injured. Nishiki's trying to weasel his way up. Shimano's also trying to weasel his way up. And also Kiryu's trying to figure out all that. Also trying to figure out where Yumi is. He eventually finds this girl who's like, he goes to this bar to talk with Date first, and then he goes back later on. And he walks in and everyone's just been murdered.
Moited.
And there's just a little girl there who has a gun. He's like, what are you doing?
Can I have that, please?
Can I have that? And she's like, I'm looking for my mom.
Are you my mom?
He's like, no.
She doesn't say that.
So she's looking for her mom, who's named Mizuki. We've also learned from Reina, the bartender at Serena, that Mizuki is supposedly Yumi's sister.
Yes.
And the little girl Haruka tells us like, oh yeah, Uncle Aunt Yumi would come to the orphanage and tell me about my mom. She also gave Haruka a pendant to keep safe and everything. And then apparently Haruka and Yumi are connected to the missing 10 billion yen.
Yep.
Because sure, why not? A whole bunch of stuff happens in the midst of all this. It's also some like weird, like kind of like I think
you gotta take care of a dog.
Gotta take care of a dog, but it's like the first third of the story is kind of like the main story. The middle part is kind of just weird. It's like kind of here's just some weird stuff that kind of happens that you kind of have to deal with to get to the next part of the main story, where like you meet the florist and his huge information network, and then you have to like help his son.
Purgatory and all that.
Yeah, you go to Purgatory and you help his son deal with Yakuza dudes. You help Date with his daughter and everything. Like this is all like main story stuff, but like it just feels very disconnected from the actual story itself.
It definitely does.
It's kind of just like here's some filler to get you from point A to point B.
You get to meet like the Stardust kids and all that.
Mm-hmm. Gives you just like an introduction to like a lot of like the prominent characters that you'll see throughout the rest of the series, basically. Eventually you kind of find out that like not only are the Tojo clan after the 10 billion, but like there's dudes from the Omi Alliance that are after it. There's the Chinese Triad is after it. It's a whole lot of stuff going on. And eventually you have to like fight this leader of the Snake Flower Triad who Kiryu had history with at one point in Shangri-La.
So he's is this the situation where like Kazuma saved him when he was kidnapped and ended up getting like his leg all bummed?
Yes. That's why he was walking with a cane, essentially.
Yeah.
So Kiryu gets like captured like 13 years ago or something by this dude, and then Kazuma has to save him and takes a shot to the leg for it and everything. Um,
He used to be a Yakuza like you, and then he took a shot to the
oh
knee.
my god. Why would you do that? Cannot believe you. Cannot believe you.
Sure you can.
Prior to all that though, like they eventually you learn that like someone is ratting you out to Nishiki because he keeps
Yep.
knowing your every move. You eventually find out that it's Reina because she has the feelings for Nishiki still.
Yeah, there's a part in the beginning where they're buying, where he's getting the ring, and Nishiki got Yumi like a necklace. And so Kiryu brings in the ring, and Reina's like, "Hey, I'd like a ring for my next birthday." Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Nishiki's like, "Oh, okay, sure, whatever."
Whatever. You eventually learn that like she called Nishiki to the bar and tried to kill him. That didn't work. What's his face? Shinji, yes. Shinji eventually kind of like gets Reina and
Bleeds out in the street.
tries to take her somewhere to like get to safety, but like Nishiki's men are after them and everything. That leads you to a big fight on a building rooftop where Reina gets murdered by one of Nishiki's like lieutenants and everything. Shinji also dies there because he takes a shot and kind of bleeds out. So you have to fight all these folks who have done all that.
Sucked.
Yeah, that fight was not good. That fight was not fun.
No, that fight sucked.
Mm-hmm. No bueno.
Also worth mentioning at one point, like you hung out with Majima in the batting center, and he just got stabbed, and then it was never brought up again.
And then he was fine. Then we went fishing with him.
Yeah.
Except he just brought a bunch of dudes to fight.
Yeah.
That was weird.
And he got shot.
And then he shows up at Shangri-La and Bodo tries to truck through the entrance.
Casually.
Very casually.
And again, nobody addresses the fact that he got stabbed or shot at any point.
He's fine.
I mean, obviously he's fine. He drove a truck through a building and then like punched his way through a floor.
Yes.
Anyway.
All of this eventually kind of coalesces into the end of the game.
Yeah.
Where you learn from Kazuma that Yumi is actually Haruka's mother and that Mizuki is Yumi, which is a new identity. Because after the events of the Dojima murder, she like suffered amnesia. She didn't know who she was. But Kazuma tried to take care of her, tried to get her to remember and everything, but like she just couldn't remember anything. Eventually, she marries this dude named Kyohei Jingu, who is just like this politician who is allied with Sarah. And then they have the baby who becomes Haruka and everything.
It's just a baby head in the picture.
Just a baby head.
There's no actual baby. It's just her head.
Jingu gets caught up in some bad stuff where he accidentally kills a journalist who was like trying to blackmail him with evidence of his family and everything. So he asked Sarah to like help him get rid of the body and everything. And then he asked Sarah to murder Yumi and Haruka.
Yep.
Kazuma ends up saving them because he's like, Sarah, you shouldn't do this. This is real bad. And then also he learns that like Jingu is trying to launder all this money through the Tojo clan, which ends up being the 10 billion yen. All this kind of goes down on a big boat you learn about, which is basically the same boat as the ending of Yakuza 0. I don't know if it's the exact same boat, but it's basically the same boat set piece.
Yeah.
Shimano shows up and you have to fight him, but Kiryu is able to defeat him, but Shimano also hits Kazuma with a grenade.
Yep. He doesn't make it.
No. You also...
But he does... Oh.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, he also just tells Kiryu at one point, like, oh, by the way, I killed your parents.
Yep. And Kiryu's like, oh. Yeah, he also like basically mentions like, yeah, Sunflower was an orphanage made up of kids of parents I killed.
Yep.
And Kiryu's like, oh.
But you're still my pa.
You also... There's another character who shows up around this time who is Terada. He is a lieutenant of the Omi Alliance, but he's also working with Kazuma because he says he owes Kazuma a great debt that he can't repay. So basically, you have this guy also working with you. He's the one who shoots Shimano after he blows up Kazuma and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all this going down, and then eventually, after all of that, you have your big climax at, of course, the Millennium Tower. Which is the Millennium Tower, if you don't know, is the thing that was built upon the empty lot, the whole basis of Yakuza 0. All of that eventually turns into this giant tower in the middle of Kamurocho called the Millennium Tower, and it becomes this big thing that is going to be prominent throughout the rest of the series. So
Yumi's got a bar at the top.
Yeah, Yumi has a bar at the top, which you found out earlier on in the game, but you meet her there this time, and now she's like has her memories, everything, and you get to meet her for the first time. She meets Haruka. Haruka's like, "Are you my mom? Are you my mama?"
You my mama.
Jingo arrives in a helicopter, and he's got like his government secret agency with him, and he wants to destroy the Tojo clan. He wants to bring in the Omi Alliance and take control and everything with the 10 billion yen. Eventually, you got to fight a bunch of his dudes and everything. Date and this other dude from the police show up in a helicopter, and then eventually just leave because they get shot at.
Yeah, they're just like, "Oh, hey, we're here to help. Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye.
We can't help anymore." Which was weird, but okay.
So Jingo basically tries to say like he's going to become like the next chairman and everything, but then Kiryu pulls out this saying from Sarah, which it was like his will, and it was like this is going to say who will be the next chairman. He pulls it out and shows everyone, "Hey, by the way, the fourth chairman is Kazuma Kiryu."
Is me.
Is me.
He just like dramatically holds the paper out like, "Look at this.
It's me." So you're able to beat up his dudes and everything, and then you're going to like be happy and everything, and then Nishiki shows up. He's like, "No, I have to beat you now and take the money for me." And you get this big, long, dramatic fight with Nishiki, where you basically just fight all throughout the bar and everything.
No shirts.
No shirts, of course, because why would you have a shirt on? Jingo re-shows up again and shoots Yumi, and then Nishiki stabs him, and they go into the room where all the money is. And Nishiki's like, "Well, I'm just gonna let this blow up and take me and this dude with it and all the money."
Yumi had a bomb set up.
Yes, where she was going to destroy the 10 billion yen if things went bad.
Yeah, and so he's like, "All right, cool. I'm just gonna hang out in here with this guy, make sure that things, go okay. All right, goodbye, peace."
And then Yumi got shot, so she dies in Kiryu's arms.
Yeah, she admits that she had feelings for him.
And he's very sad.
And he's like, "I also had feelings for you." Also, it's raining money down on the streets. And the locket before she dies gets opened.
And it's a picture of Kiryu.
Oh.
So, and then like the cops all show up at the end there, and Kiryu's just like, "I'm sad."
I mean, his brother/best friend did just
his brother's best friend died, his love interest died, and his surrogate dad just died.
Yeah, he's having a real bad time. He was just given the Tojo clan.
Yeah.
So he has a lot on his plate at the moment.
He decides he wants to go back to jail because of this, and Dante's like, "No, you gotta take care of Haruka now. You're the only one who can like actually like kind of take care of her now. She has no family now." And Kiryu's like, "Okay." So after that, he goes to the Tojo clan and is like, "All right, hello, I'm the fourth chairman now. By the way, I'm quitting being the fourth chairman. Terada, you are now the fifth chairman of the Tojo clan. I'm out of here. See you later."
They like chase him down. He's like, "Nope, out of here. Goodbye."
And then basically like the last scene you get is of Kiryu going to pick up Haruka, and they're gonna go live their life together now.
Yep, and nothing ever happened again.
Nope, that's it. Kiwami introduces a couple of things that basically add more to the story. Like we talked about the Majima Everywhere system, which kind of expands upon Majima's character a little bit, even though it kind of comes into conflict with the actual game's characterization of Majima. But they also add in some backstory for Nishiki to kind of show like how he became, or he came to be how he is today from the events of 1995.
This boy has problems.
Yes. So a lot of it is kind of like this him trying to deal with the fact that like everyone thinks he's inferior to Kiryu and everything. They wish Kiryu was here to deal with all this. They don't want to deal with Nishiki and everything. So after
like you can't even control your men.
So after Kiryu's arrest, he gets his own family, the Nishikiyama family, and Kashiwaki's like, yeah, we're gonna send a bunch of our best men over to your family to kind of help you get off the ground and everything. And then after, when Kiryu comes back, he'll be placed in your family. You'll look after him and everything. But then everyone kind of like thinks he's just like incompetent and everything. One of his captains kind of just like walks all over him and just like talks to him in the whole time. He's also trying to find a way to get like a transplant for his sister who's doing very roughly, doing real rough. Where like if she doesn't get this transplant, she's gonna die. So like he has to like get this money from a doctor, or he has to pay this doctor like a kind of like a fast way track fee essentially to get to like black market organs and all that sort of stuff. So he tells the guy who keeps walking over him like, hey, go get money any way you can.
Then he gets bamboozled.
He gets bamboozled where like the guy's like, oh, I got all this money from this doctor and everything. It's weird. He's just like trying to flee the country and everything. And he reads the business card and it's the doctor he was supposed to pay. And he's just like, oh God.
He goes to the hospital and they're like, yeah, he just left and we were all very sad about it. And he goes to the office and it's completely emptied out. And he cries and is very sad and his sister dies.
And then like Kashiwagi like just opens a new one on him.
Yeah.
Just been like, what are you doing? You were just being a failure.
Well, because the guy that's under him, that he was doing some like real bad stuff that he wasn't supposed to be doing to get that money.
Also like kind of like encroaching on the Kazuma family turf and everything.
That's mainly what I meant.
Yeah. So like eventually Nishiki kind of like is at the end of his rope almost where he's about to like kill himself, but then like that guy comes in and is like, hey, what's going on? And then like Nishiki gets real mad and just literally murders this dude.
Straight up murders him. And he's just covered in blood and like slicks his hair back with the blood. He
slicks his hair back with the blood to make his slicked hair back look that he has in the rest of the game.
I was like, oh my God. Buddy, there's better hair gel out there.
So yeah, he has a rough time.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it is just like he has an inferiority complex, which, I mean, he probably also has a lot of guilt because he knows that he's the one that did it and that Kiryu's doing time for it.
Yeah. It's just a whole mess of things.
It's a perfect storm of mistakes happening and, yeah.
But yeah, this is essentially Yakuza 1 in a nutshell.
Yes. We have a daughter now.
We do have a daughter now. I kind of like gave you like the expectation of like, hey, don't go into this thinking this is Yakuza 0. Like this is not going to be as as ambitious and just like as wild as Yakuza 0 was, obviously, because like this is a remake of the first game, so I think that kind of helps you in terms of like getting your expectations in check. But yeah, like this game I think is fine, but like
it's fine.
Out of all the Yakuza games that I've played, it's probably at the bottom.
I mean, of the Yakuza games that I've experienced so far, it is at the bottom.
Well, you have experienced 2.5 now.
Yeah. Well, ish. I mean, technically you could put like the half of 2 and the half of 7 together and make another one.
I'm just making a Frankenstein game.
But yeah, so far like 0 and 2 are better experiences.
Yeah.
But I think that this was an important game for me to know what's going on.
Absolutely. Like it is the basis, the groundwork of the rest of the series going forward.
And I as I mentioned before, I think that if we had not played 0 before this, a lot of the story beats of 1 would not have hit for me.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Yeah, Kiryu lost a lot of stuff in this game.
That he did. A lot of people die in this game.
A lot of people die. Yeah, like at one point we got to see, I think it was on 2, we were at the Tojo headquarters that has like all the portraits. I was like, all those guys are dead. All of them. And you're like, yeah, they're all dead.
It's like it's like photos of Sarah, Dojima, Shimano, Nishiki, and Kazuma. They're like, yeah, none of those guys exist anymore.
None of them. They're all dead. A lot of people died in this.
That they did.
And then the love interest also died. Rip.
Ripperoni and pepperoni.
Kiryu didn't even think to call cops or anything or an ambulance and be like, hey, we should probably try and take care of this bleeding out lady.
He's just like, I don't know what to do.
I'm sad.
Where's my cell phone?
Oh no, it was with my jacket that I threw.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But yeah, that's Yakuza 1.
Yeah. We're continuing our Yakuza journey.
We are continuing our Yakuza journey. 2 games down. We got like 5 more to go.
Yeah.
Or actually 6 more to go. 6, 5, 6, I don't know. I don't know how to count. I don't do math.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, judgment 6.
There you go, math.
I can do math.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for doing math.
I have fingers. I can count.
There you go. Well, that's it. Unless you have anything else you want to say about Yakuza 1.
No.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. So if you'd like more from us, go to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup and Jared Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anne Ladyem, go to anneladyem.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. You can buy our books, One Shining Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to bonus episodes, unedited versions of the podcast. You can also listen to our Patreon exclusive review of the Sonic the Hedgehog film, which that is a wild ride, to say the least.
Yeah, it is.
So check that out if you want on the Patreon. Next week will be something.
Yeah.
It might be more Yakuza or it might be something else. Who knows?
Who knows? It'll depend on how we do.
Exactly. So we'll figure that out and we'll reconvene for the first episode of March.
Oh, God.
There you go.
Oh, God.
There you go.